We actually had something really special happen to our mailbox this week. We got a letter, and I have it right here.
Now, this is a real letter. Sometimes we say we got a letter, but this one actually did come in the mail.
This literally came in the mail. So the coolest thing happened, friends. I went hunting for Ladybug books for our next theme for April. As always, trolling the internet for the best literature for you to share with your child. We actually have a book list that comes with every single theme. And you can find lots of book lists online. There's so many great books. But when we are looking for books to add to our Montessori prepared environment, the stories actually this is actually a really good point that kind of goes along with what we talked about earlier, is that stories can be a great bridge into the materials as well. And so this is what I discovered. I went hunting. I found a bunch of really awesome books for you to share with your child. And something that I really particularly look for is books with realistic illustrations, books with engaging storylines, and what I especially love are books that are like written by real parents.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have extra insight into what kids actually like. And there's
so many talented artists out there and writers. That's one of the things I love about the modern age. I mean, we're getting to do it right now. We have our little show here on YouTube. You can publish a book. You could create a company with the technology that we have. You can really bring it to life in a way that was much harder in the past. And so I'm with you. I love that when we get to highlight something from the world that might not be getting a lot of attention otherwise.
That's right. And I really tend to love getting my books personally from Better World Books. I like to get them at garage sales, get them used. But if I can support a local artist, if I find a craft that I really love or a book that someone that is like, I can tell is like a real person, like my friend Christy, I ordered I know that a lot of independent authors will actually house and I'm having published books. I know, it's a big deal when you publish a book. You can have like a big stack of them in your garage. And then when they're personally mailed out, it just feels so special. And so that is exactly what came to me today. This is from Chloe. Chloe, I don't know if you're watching, but I was just delighted to get this package.
And look in the back here.
Look on the back is like a little ladybug that she drew. And inside, I'm going to reveal this book that I'm recommending that is
this is one of the 10 books that we're recommending, or whatever it is, for April.
Yes, so we're actually going to do a little review right here. So
beautiful.
I'm going to show our friends so you can see the cover of this book. This actually came with a little iridescent ladybug sticker.
That's cool.
I know, it's so cute. But I know, what do you notice right away from the cover? This book is called Hello, Little Ladybug. Written and illustrated, both by Chloe Faulk-Burgess.
Yeah, I love the eyes looking at the ladybug. It's a realistic ladybug. It's not cartoony.
Right.
But it's still very beautiful and artful. It's just a real, I love it. It kind of goes with what we were talking about before about the attention of the child. And it's not like in your face, ladybug time.
Yeah, it really draws you in.
Yeah, so you can imagine looking at that little ladybug.
Yes.
It's a very realistic kind of, even if the drawing is not photorealistic, it captures what children experience.
It does. Okay, so in this book review, I have previewed this book. I know that you have not.
No.
But check this out. So I'm opening this book for the first time, and I'm like, this is so adorable. Look, I want this as like wallpaper in the bathroom or something. It's so cute. Hello, little ladybug. She's signed it personally, which is very meaningful. But then I open up the dedication page and I'm like, oh no, did she send me a book that had been scribbled on? No, of course not. So I had to write her about it and ask. This is her dedication page, and it says, "For Arthur, love Mama." And then can you even guess what must have happened at home?
Yeah.
Yes, well, Chloe confirmed. She said she had done this beautiful illustration, and then imagine her surprise when her toddler had like gone into the room and exited and come back, and oh my gosh, this is what happened to her artwork. And she said that she saw it after she got over the initial shock of what had happened. She said she knew it would have to be the dedication page to the book.
I love it. It's as though Arthur himself signed it.
I mean, how many of our books do we have that have been scribbled on like this? It happens, and I think that as parents, sometimes we open up a book and we see the scribbles and we're like, my child defaced this book. But I think that the Montessori perspective is a little bit different. Like, my child saw this and then recognized that this is a connection to writing and drawing.
Yeah, the child was like, I want to draw too.
Yes.
This is...
Your child gets inspired by all of the literature that you bring into the home. And then I think they just naturally have this instinct of like, I want to engage with this piece of work. And so even though you may end up with a lot of books that are scribbled on, try and think of it in a different way. Just like Chloe did, think of it as like, you know what, this is my child interacting, and maybe I'm imagining, maybe even her child has been watching a lot of illustrations.
You may not have preferred the writing on your art, but how you react to it is critical.
It is. So it's just a lovely example of a Montessori way to engage with it.
And I think embracing it is really wonderful.
Yes, I do.
Oh, nice. No, I have not seen this book
yet. I'm going to read a little bit of this book, and we can talk about the illustrations. So this page says, "Hello, little ladybug. It is a bright new day. The dewdrops are still shimmering, and the boy has come to play." All right? And look at this beautiful flower with this ladybug on it. Yeah. When we talk about perfect Montessori realistic story and illustrations, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, the perspective of a child and what they're witnessing in this beautiful world.
It's beautiful. It's colorful. It's a drawing, but it isn't. There's no cartoon eyes or anything. It is a realistic depiction. Yeah. And I love the little adornment she has put over here, the little strawberries.
Little strawberries.
Yeah.
Yes. And here you notice like there are actually little droplets of the dewdrops, and they're reflective. And this is the kind of thing that you can really draw your child's attention to out in the real world when you...
Yeah, I really love that she had that idea of adding the image into the
details. Yeah, I know. You get a copy of this book, you can see it more clearly yourself. And this is lovely too. The second page is, "He tramps around the flowers and squeals about your spots," talking to the ladybug. "But you don't mind, sweet ladybug. You have the time for tots." Who doesn't have the time for tots? Lots of people. But you know who does? Nature and mamas and dads. Right.
And the world isn't always tolerant, especially when they scribble on your stuff. But
the sweet child is dressed appropriately for the garden, wearing Crocs, and you can see tomato plants in the background.
Oh, that's a beautiful one.
Oh, I know. I love this. So the text is, "You stand out like a ruby on the broad sunflower leaf. You hunt for aphids up and down who give the flowers grief." Those aphids do give the flowers grief, so that's a great talking point. But look at this illustration. It is stunning.
Yeah, what I love about this is she's established the size of the ladybug in comparison to the flower and the child. And now she's establishing the size of the aphid in comparison to the ladybug, and it's teeny.
Exactly.
But she's not saying that, right? She's just using the illustration to bring that to life. It's very clever.
It is. It's so clever. So here again, you can see, here's the flower compared to the ladybug. Ladybug is pretty tiny compared to the flower. And now let's zoom back out. And now we see your child's size compared to the ladybug. And I don't even know if our people watching can see the ladybug in this picture. It's
almost
so
like
tiny.
an I Spy, yeah.
But it's teeny tiny. It's right here, and it's just this little red spot, smaller than a red unit bead.
Oh,
Very,
gosh,
very
much smaller.
Very, very tiny. Yeah.
But now...
And now you see the comparison. Like if you were the ladybug, this is how tiny the aphid would be compared to you. And so teeny, teeny, tiny. Remember that an interest in tiny things is one of the sensitive periods of children.
Definitely.
So this is going to be fascinating. This also makes me want to teach a lesson. Just this page makes me want to give a lesson about invertebrates.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I'm looking and I'm like, ooh, like this so clearly is such a fascinating look at like the face of a ladybug. And most of the books out there that I went through and I chose not to include in our book list, not that they might not be great books, but they're not the books I chose for this book of like 10 top picks, for our members. Most of the books about ladybugs have pretend eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because actually when you look at insects,
they have compound eyes.
Yeah, and they're kind of spooky in a way.
They're kind of weird. They've got compound eyes, but most of the ladybug books that I looked at had like ladybugs with little pupils in their eyes, totally. Like ours. And so those are the books that, like, I think, I really tried to avoid. Like, sometimes I include those sorts of illustrations if, like, the text is really good, or like if it's
just because something has
really
an unrealistic
story
depiction doesn't discount it immediately.
No, but it's
depending
better.
on the age of the child. Like at a certain age, when they're really trying to figure out what is real and what is not real,
right.
The more realistic the depiction, the better.
This is better. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to show a couple more pages.
This is good with the hands.
No, I love this. This text says, fingers scoop you gently to admire your perfect features. For all of your smallness, you are a fearsome, hungry creature. Now, you don't know this because you haven't read the lessons and designed them yet.
No.
But there is a lesson in our Ladybug study that's coming up where we count the number of aphids that a ladybug would eat in a day, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And the larva of a ladybug, like the younger child version of a ladybug, they look like those little.
Yeah.
They look like little alligators.
Oh yeah.
But larvae eat so much more than even a ladybug does. But it's going to stun you when you read how many, and then you get out your Montessori beads to actually count up like how many that would be. It's going to be a great lesson. Yeah.
Look at that.
So love it. So sweet. And then I'm just going to skip to the end and not read the whole book.
Go get your own copy.
Get your own copy of this book. Something else that I really love is that Chloe has thoughtfully included. Our members are going to love this so much. Go get a copy. She has thoughtfully included a parts of the ladybug, a very simple version that is a parts of a ladybug drawing in the same style, and it's beautiful. She's got the elytra, the antenna, abdomen, and wing. It's so enticing for your child to look at. It's definitely going to be, something that's interesting. And this is all at the back of the book. And also, because she has a toddler, she's thinking about that vocabulary development.
That's nice.
So she's thinking, what is it in this book that children might be interested in looking at more deeply? And so she included 2 pages with just vocabulary. And this vocabulary is like hydrangea, tomatoes, aphid. And it doesn't explicitly say, now go spy these in the book. And that's what a good Montessori work will do, or lesson will do. Like, we don't need to tell our children exactly what to do all the time. If we prepare the space, just like Chloe has prepared this beautiful book, it's just going to lend itself to that. And so as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, I want to go back and find this geranium. I had not even noticed that there was a geranium in this book, but it made me want to go back into the story and look for these things. So I loved that. And you can see a little picture of the author, which I really like. It's just a very classically designed book, the exact kind of book that we want to teach our children how to draw and write as well.
Yeah.
So great model all around to find it. And I look forward.
Where can they get that book? Is it just on?
Well, you can get it several places. I actually found it on Bookshop, which is what we usually link to.
Yeah.
It's just links to independent bookstores, and I always like supporting local bookstores first. You can also get it on Amazon. So it's there as well. But I think the best way to get it is to order it directly by the author, from the author. And her Instagram is Chloe, I believe it's Chloe-Creates. And she will just literally mail it to you if you Venmo her. And I just think it's so endearing and sweet and personal. So I encourage you to do that as well. Totally. Amazon and bookstores, they all take a cut from the author, and a pretty sizable cut. Okay, so if you can order direct from an
after
author,
PayPal, Amazon, and the government,
we can tell you how much of your money you don't get when you sell a product. You don't need to know. Just don't worry about it, okay? We get enough. We'll just leave it at that. But that said, people tend to think that authors get the full amount of the money. Yeah, or people who sell
you have
jewelry,
to be a massive
people
author
who sell jewelry on Etsy, like these crafters who are selling online. Everyone wants to take a cut, and if you can just Venmo your farmer's market purchase to the actual farmer, it's better, and I encourage you to do that. All right. Well, anyway, lots of love to Chloe, and
thank you for a beautiful book
that I love to discover rather than being reached out to.